Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid, the most amazing homesteading channel on the internet that has nothing to do with homesteading. Here soon, I'm not going to be able to see my homestead down there because what used to be a hay field that we then allowed to become a meadow is reforesting now, becoming a forest. So, well, I'll say quickly, it's been 7 years. So prodigiously that you're not going to be able to see the house from up here before long. So I've been coming back up here lately, getting back into it, telling some stories, because that's what I enjoy doing, and I know you guys enjoy listening to them. So I got one that I was told by somebody here just a few days ago in person that is one of the strangest stories. I think you'll agree with me once I've told you. I'm not sitting in the chair this time because I'm not reading it. I'm telling it verbatim per memory. And I want to walk around a bit. We're going to be going into the woods and stuff because the last few days as I've been up here making videos, there's been someone or something walking around in the background, just like old times. So keep watching, get my 6, timestamp anything you may or may not see. Remember, it's large, dark objects. Sometimes it's like Predator type stuff, like the movie Predator, like the shimmering stuff, lights. Sometimes it's footsteps, like in a recent video, footsteps first off in the distance and then they get right up beside me, yet we can't see anything there. So just remember to listen too. I think we're already being followed. So I was talking to a guy. He didn't want me to state his name. He wanted to remain anonymous. He told me of one of the strangest experiences he's ever had in his life. It haunts him to this day, and it was 20-some years ago. So when he was a young man in his mid to late 20s, I'll stop here to see if it catches up with us there. He managed a small motel in a very small rural community out in the middle of nowhere. Once you passed his motel, which sat on the outskirts of town, you could drive for like 2 hours before you came to the next community. So his place was really the last stop if you were out and about and needed a place to stay for the night. So he said he was working there one summer. It was late afternoon, going into the evening, and a car pulls into the parking lot. He sees a priest get out of the car, and the priest comes in, and he leans over the desk and like gets almost in this young man's face and looks around all conspiratorially, making sure nobody's listening. And of course, there was nobody there. And he says, "Is room number 39 available?" And the guy tells the priest, "Yeah, room 39 is available. As a matter of fact, all of our rooms are available. We don't have anybody staying here. You can have whatever room you want." And the priest says, "I've got to have room 39. So the guy says, "Okay." He gives him the key to room 39. Then the priest says, "But there's a few items that I need for you to get for me if you can and bring it to my room." The guy says, "Sure, Father, what are they?" He says, "I need a knife, I need a 3-inch long length of black thread, and I need an orange that doesn't weigh any more than 8 ounces. And the guy, is wondering what the heck's going on here, but he doesn't want the priest to kind of pick up on the idea that he was thinking he might be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So he tells him, "Sure, Father, I can get you those items. I'm going to have to go home or go to the store. I don't have any thread here or an orange. I could probably find a knife, but I'll need to bring them to you later." The priest says, "That's fine. Just bring them by my room." So the guy says, "Okay." We're entering the woods here. So that evening, the guy takes his stuff, and he was pulling like a day shift, night shift type thing. He said the reason he eventually left that job is because they couldn't get they couldn't keep help, and he practically lived at that motel. And when he would work the night shift and the next day, they'd let him stay in a room, which was nice, but he just had no life. So that night, he was staying in the motel on the opposite side of where the priest's room was, but their walls connected in the middle. So he's laying in bed, he's trying to go to sleep, but he can't stop thinking about why would this priest need a knife, a 3-inch length of black thread, and an orange that didn't weigh any more than 8 ounces. When all of a sudden he starts hearing this commotion coming from the priest's room on the other side of the wall. He's hearing blood-curdling screams. He's hearing what sounds like dishes being shattered up against the walls, and he's like, "What's going on?" So he runs around, and he puts his ear on the priest's door, and he can hear this still going on, and he felt like like maybe interrupting, banging on the door, but at the same time he knew it wasn't really his place, so he didn't. So the next morning, he ended up sleeping in a little longer than usual because he'd been up so late that night because of the disturbances. So when he did get up, he went around to the priest's room, and the priest was already gone. He went in the room. The priest had made his bed. There was no trash, no nothing. It looked like the room had never been slept in. And the knife, the thread, and the orange was laying on a table right there in the middle of the room. So the guy just wrote it off to maybe this priest was just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Never thought much more about it after, several days passed and he got it out of his mind until the following year on the same day of the same month, because he went back and looked in the register on the exact same day, late afternoon, turning early evening. Same priest shows up, gets out of his car, walks into the office, leans over the desk, looks around all conspiratorially and asks, is room number 39 available? The guy says, yeah, room 39 is available, Father. You can have it. And the priest says, okay, I'll take it. Now listen, I need you to bring me, if you don't mind, a knife, a 3-inch long piece of black thread, and an orange that doesn't weigh any more than 8 ounces. The guy says, okay, Father, I'll go out and get them for you and take them to you. So he goes out once again and he gets these items for the priest. And he goes back just before dark and he gives the items to the priest. And once again, he's staying in his room on the opposite side of the wall of the priest's room. He goes over there and he's laying there thinking, what in the world is going on? How could this guy come back the same day, the following year, and the same thing's going on? Just as he's having these thoughts, he hears those blood-curdling screams. He hears the sound of dishes shattering against the wall. And he says to himself, you know what? I'm not going to lay here and wonder this time, and I'm not going to oversleep in the morning and go there just to find the room empty and the priest gone and these items on the table. So he leaves, he gets out of bed, he gets dressed, he leaves his room, he runs around, he puts his ear up on the door of the priest's room, and again, he's hearing the screams, the blood-curdling screams. It sounds as if somebody's speaking in Latin. He said it kind of sounded like the priest, but the voice was deeper, and he could hear the dishes shattering against the wall. And he took his master key, and he opened the door, and the priest was in the middle of the room, and he turned and he saw him, and he ran to the door. And he says, why are you here? And he said to the priest, he says, what in the name of God is going on in here, Father? And the priest said to him, listen, I'll tell you everything, but you've got to swear to me on your life that you'll never tell anyone else. And the guy promised. He swore on his life he would never tell anyone else what was going on in that room. And to this day, he hasn't. He didn't even tell me. So to this day, only he and the priest know.